Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. When the three of them heard this, they immediately trembled uncontrollably, each of them revealing a look of resentment. You can't do this to us, you demon. One of them said, trembling. Yunxiao stared at him coldly and snorted. You think you can't just because you say so? Who do you think you are? I'll give you 3 breaths to consider. Otherwise, I'll have that person interrogate you. He's not as bad-tempered as me, and he's always been very gentle to men. The 3 of them trembled even more violently. Yuan Sun had been under their surveillance the entire time, so he naturally understood what kind of fetish he had. His face turned extremely pale. I say, you must not let that person deal with us. The leader finally broke down and said dejectedly, we are from the Temple of Holy Fire. The Temple of Holy Fire? After thinking for a while, Yunxiao asked suspiciously, is there such a sect in the western regions? I don't think there's one in the realm of heavenly martial arts, right? In the realm of heavenly martial arts, some of the forces that were slightly famous, even if they had never come into contact with them, they at least knew about them. Since the other party could send out 3 martial royal realm experts casually, they would not be a trashy gang. Could it be that you're a hidden sect? He asked. Yes, the man said. We are the descendants of the Peerless martial sovereign Yi Tiannan. Yunxiao's face flickered as he said in surprise, Yi Tiannan? Then, the purpose of your appearance this time is to be Wufu? A desolate look flashed across the man's face as he said bitterly, it's this Noah's ship, but I didn't expect you to have it. However, Ingluo, how could this be possible? It's impossible to find Noah's ship with just the Yang key. Even if you're lucky enough to find it by accident, how can you refine it for your own use without that thing? The shock in Yunxiao's heart was indescribable. He did not expect that the legendary Noah's ship would actually appear. Yi Tiannan was the peerless martial sovereign who had refined the supreme grade profound level weapon. It seemed that Tang Jia had come to the Gentle Song Forest for the Yin Key. In that case, the Yin Key is with you people from the Temple of Holy Fire, he said calmly. What else do you need to refine this Noah's ship? The man was about to say something when someone next to him nudged him. He immediately shut up. Yunxiao's eyes turned cold as he grinned hideously and said, you're not being honest. It seems that I'll have to ask my companion to serve you. The 3 of them shivered in fear, feeling the chill in their chrysanthemums. They crawled back with all their might, trying to get as far away from the demon in front of them as possible. I'll talk. I just hope that you can give us a quick death after I'm done. Don't hand us over to that demon. The first person was in complete despair. He said bitterly, the Yin Key is with our Sacred Fire Hall's young master. If you want to refine Noah's ship, you must obtain a divine art. This divine art was left behind by the martial emperor Yi Nantian. So that was how it was. Yunxiao immediately understood. The divine realm tablet also had a corresponding divine technique of the great realm. Since Noah's ship was known as a supreme-grade mystic artifact, it was normal for it to need a corresponding divine technique to refine it. After asking a few more questions about the Temple of Holy Fire, he disappeared in a flash, leaving the 3 of them on the spot, feeling uneasy. They were afraid that the pervert would punish them, but they didn't have the courage to commit suicide. Yunxiao's mind returned to his room in the inn. He muttered to himself, even the descendants of Noah's ship and Yi Tiannan have appeared, and the demon clan seems to be getting restless. I don't know where Dijia, who is in Mount Shumi, came from. Also, why does it feel like the heavenly martial realm is going to be in chaos? The demonic dragon's voice resounded in his mind. It's none of your business. Speaking of Noah's ship, I remember something else. Do you remember when Lu Qingyu invited you to participate? Yunxiao was moved. A transcendent grade mystic artifact? That's right, the demon dragon said. Back then, Lu Qingyu was the same as Yi Tiannan. He had the ambition to refine a supreme grade profound level weapon. Your amazing performance in the small spirit sky made him want to pull you in. Humph, who would have known that the astral/sword that you refined in Little Spirit Sky was just an inferior transcendent grade profound level weapon? As soon as the demonic dragon mentioned this, he seemed to be full of complaints. He said unhappily, King merged 3 9th-tier mystic artifacts into one through the torrent mystic gold and used my power to control it so that it wouldn't break. You've deceived the powerful existences of the Sea of Soul formation and the demon race. Yunxiao smiled wryly. There was no other way. You know the situation at that time. However, I do have some experience in refining supreme grade profound level weapons. If I can get Noah's ship this time and dismantle it, I think it will be a great harvest. As he thought of this, his eyes shone. Stop dreaming. The demonic dragon said disdainfully, other than the descendants of martial Emperor Yi Tiannan, the 4 extreme sect, Empyrean 1 Pavilion, the skeleton mercenary group, and the mysterious Rain are also watching Noah's ship. These are the forces that we know of. God knows what else we don't know. With your current strength? I don't want the Divine Realm tablet to be snatched away by others. He paused for a moment before he continued, if I can recover to my peak condition, I can help you. It's a pity that I'm only a wisp of my soul now, and my power is less than 10% or 20%. The little stone had improved quite quickly, but it was not so easy to enter the 8 Desolation realm. As for your other demonic beast, the Dark Thunder, its talent is far inferior to Little Shure's. I'm afraid it'll only be able to reach the rank of martial honor at most in its lifetime. Yunxiao was also very vexed. The newbie mercenary group is not bad, but it's a pity that Xiao Huang isn't here, so I can't control it. Otherwise, helping me fight for Noah's ship would be a great help. That kid's improving pretty quickly. He's about to break through to the martial supreme realm. Who knew where he was hiding? I think that Hai Beifei should know about it. He's just hiding it from you. He's not the only one who knows, Yunxiao snorted coldly. If I'm not wrong, the people of the Rainstorm Mercenary Group and the Skeleton Mercenary Group know about it, and they must have gone to cause trouble. Otherwise, I'd made such a big scene in the west of the city, breaking the balance that they'd had for so many years, and they wouldn't have even let out a fart. They must have sent a large number of experts to encircle and annihilate the young emperor. Aren't you worried? The demonic dragon asked in surprise. Yunxiao's face was cold as he said, which martial emperor doesn't stand out from all kinds of difficulties? This is the young emperor's own business, and I believe he can solve it. If he could not even deal with these small fries, he would not be able to reach the peak of the martial supreme realm even if he broke through to the martial supreme realm. These situations are a great test for him, but also an opportunity. There were no shortcuts on the path of martial arts. All the difficulties and challenges were the stones that blocked the way, but at the same time, they were also the capital to step on. The demonic dragon was silent for a while before saying, "What do you plan to do now? Are we going to the Temple of Holy Fire's base, or are we just going to wait for news from that pervert?" Yunxiao seemed to be lost in thought, and he looked a little absent-minded. Suddenly, he said, "You're right. I'm indeed very weak now. He would probably be at the bottom of the list in this competition. I've thought of a way to temporarily increase my strength." What? The demonic dragon was stunned. Yunxiao did not explain. Instead, he appeared directly in the Divine Realm tablet and came to Sheng. Sheng, who was quietly cultivating, was shocked. He stood up and said angrily, "What do you want to do?" Yunxiao walked toward him step by step and said indifferently, "It's fine. I'm just borrowing your immemorial heaven's eye." What? Sheng was taken aback, and he immediately saw Yunxiao's red pupils losing consciousness. Yunxiao's fingers turned into a claw and clawed at Sheng's left eye. Suddenly, a huge eye popped out of the left side of his face, shining with a fierce light and looking terrible. Yunxiao's face was filled with confusion. He grabbed the eyeball and pulled it out. Countless veins ran through Sheng's body, and his face turned extremely terrifying, completely losing its human shape. A huge eyeball was caught in his hand, and dozens of blood vessels kept dancing in the air, like an octopus, as if it was trying to grab something. Don't tell me you're trying to imitate that pervert and implant this thing into your body, the demonic dragon asked in shock. Not really, Yunxiao snorted. I'm just borrowing it. That madman Jia was quite capable. These immemorial heaven's eyes were already dead, but he had implanted the Brahma bug in them and used it to control the heaven's eyes' movements. The Brahma bug had extremely strong parasitic properties and could be implanted into the human body at the same time. However, the Brahma-devouring bug has to constantly feed on human blood essence. This Gu Yuesheng is a good seedling. It's a pity that he became the crazy man's disciple. At this moment, Gu Yuesheng had lost his primordial heaven's eye, and one side of his face had become extremely terrifying. But, with a few incantations from Yunxiao, his face began to gradually recover. The blood vessels on the immemorial heavenly eye kept dancing in the air, and soon discovered Yunxiao's existence. They immediately hardened and pierced into Yunxiao's body like needles. But, Yunxiao was prepared. Besides, they were in the divine realm tablet, and not even a martial emperor could do anything to him. He blew lightly, and the dozens of blood vessels stopped in the air. They were so stiff that they could not move forward at all. Then, they broke apart and turned into dust that was blown away. After the immemorial heaven's eye lost those blood vessels, its pupils slowly drooped down, turning into a dead object. Yunxiao gathered his spiritual power and gazed into the heavenly eye. He wanted to fully understand the structure of the heavenly eye and then use it. The demonic dragon stared at him for a long time before saying, "I understand. So you want to refine this thing into a profound level weapon? Your idea is even crazier than that madman Jie's. An alchemist should act like an alchemist," Yunxiao snorted coldly. "There is nothing in the world that cannot be refined." He placed the eyeball in the air and continuously injected all kinds of rule force into it. The storage ring in his hand flashed with green light, and countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures appeared in the sky, spreading out one by one. Yunxiao's eyes swept over the eyeball, and with a thought, dozens of various materials flew over and were distributed around it in a strange posture. He waved his hand again, and countless flames surged out from the ground and soared into the sky, swallowing all the materials and roasting them. The demonic dragon's eyes glowed with a strange light. "Your soul power is only at the 5th rank, but you can use the rules of heaven and earth in the divine realm tablet and display the true phoenix fire limitlessly. Can you refine a higher level profound weapon?" Yunxiao explained as he cast a magic art. "At most, I can refine it to the 6th tier, and it's limited by my own strength. So what if I can refine it to the 9th tier? Moreover, you also know that when refining 7th tier and above profound armaments, there will be a heavenly rule thunder tribulation. In my divine realm tablet, there's no thunder tribulation. Even if it's a 7th tier mystic weapon, it can't be compared with a 7th tier mystic weapon that has experienced the thunder tribulation." It was easy to understand this situation. A martial emperor who had also reached the level of a martial emperor but had been cultivating in seclusion would definitely be far weaker than a martial emperor who had been fighting outside for years. In the divine realm tablet, he was almost an invincible existence. He could adjust the rules of the realm at will, so he could replenish his soul power extremely quickly, and it would not consume much energy to refine it. The eyeball was being roasted by the true phoenix fire. Otherwise, it would have been turned into ashes after being dead for so many years. The various materials were instantly dissolved by the true fire and absorbed into the eyeball. The eyeball's color became brighter and brighter, flashing with golden light as if it was alive. His pupils seemed to have a mind of their own as they opened and closed, constantly releasing a strange power. It was mental power. The demonic dragon also came out of the purple shadow sword, shrinking dozens of times into a tiny dragon. It sat quietly beside Yunxiao, watching the refining process. The true phoenix fire burned from a distance, and the godly state intended emitted was also very beneficial to him. Yunxiao's hands moved faster and faster, and his body glowed with a golden light. Tadpole-like characters kept emitting dense mist and dissipating in the air. In the end, the golden light from the eyeball became stronger and stronger, so piercing that it was difficult to open one's eyes. A wave of weapon intent gradually formed. "Retreat. Let's go." Yunxiao cried out, and the phoenix true flame that filled the sky quickly receded back into the earth. With a wave of his hand, the materials that filled the sky were all kept into his ring. In the sky, the golden eye floated quietly. It was very agile, and its pupil flashed and released spiritual fluctuations. As expected, it's a grade 6 item. And this spirit is as strong as yours, the demon dragon complimented. I won't have to be so pathetic against Mr. Yu now. However, Yunxiao's brows were tightly furrowed, as if he was extremely dissatisfied. It's a pity that I don't have enough materials on me, and I can only reach this level. The ancient heavenly eye clan was truly impressive. Even after countless years, this eyeball still possessed such a powerful force. However, it's still far from enough to deal with Mr. Yu. A golden light flashed between his brows, and the eyeball in the air suddenly flew down and entered his brows. Soon, a golden eye appeared in the middle of his eyebrows. It flashed with a strange light and then disappeared. Don't be so ungrateful, the demon dragon said. The other party is an 8th-tier alchemist, and he knows all kinds of secret techniques. You only refined one eye, and you want to suppress him? How can he continue to live? Yunxiao was a little worried. A beam of light flew out of his hand and turned into a long sword. He held it in his hand and began to examine it carefully. It was the purple Shadow Qing Suo sword. After it had exchanged dozens of blows with Tang Jie's vermilion bird saber that day, it was already covered with large and small nicks. It was extremely broken. Furthermore, the artifact reserves that were being transmitted out had become extremely unstable, as if they could collapse at any moment. The 9th-tier mystic artifact was a combination of 2 swords, and it had only been able to stick them together for a long time under Yunxiao's powerful control. Now that the sword was damaged, the power of the combination was gradually weakening. Clang! Yunxiao placed the sword in the air and flicked it lightly with a finger. It let out a crisp sword cry and suddenly split into 2, shooting out 2 streams of sword chi of different colors, one green and one purple, flashing in the air 1,000 meters away. However, that powerful 9th-grade tool accumulation had been reduced to the 7th grade. This purple Shadow Qing Suo sword is indeed a good profound level weapon. Unfortunately, it's not suitable for my stellar sword intent. It's better to refine a 6th grade profound level weapon myself. With a single thought, the true phoenix fire once again rose from the ground and gathered towards the 2 swords, burning them. What a waste! The demonic dragon said. You actually want to reduce the level of materials that can be used to refine 9th-tier profound armaments to the 6th tier? Yunxiao's face was as calm as water as he said lightly, after I forcefully refined the astral/sword in Little Spirit Sky, I had an idea in my mind. After obtaining the Great Expansion Divine Technique, the possibility of this idea being realized has increased. The only thing I want to do now is to disassemble Noah's ship. I believe I can make a real supreme grade profound level weapon. As for these 2 swords, they don't match my stellar sword essence in terms of material or creation. What's the use of them? With a casual wave of his hand, the 2 7th-tier profound armaments began to melt under the true phoenix fire's heat. It was a pity that the Divine Realm tablet couldn't condense the Thunder Tribulation. Otherwise, he could directly refine a 9th-tier profound artifact by sending down the rules of heaven. Purple and green auras kept flowing out of the 2 swords, illuminating the sky into 2 distinct halves. Under the Phoenix Divine Fire, everything could be turned into nothingness. The azulate swords were made of 9th-tier materials, but their impurities had been burned away, and they had condensed into a gaseous state. Then, there was a sound on the ground. The stone beast's body kept emerging from the ground. It raised its head to take a look, then flew into the sky and stood in the middle of the 2 swords. Yunxiao's face began to turn serious as he controlled the purple and green gas to slowly surge toward the stone beast. The demonic dragon's pupils contracted as he exclaimed, "You're crazy. You're not thinking of refining the little stone, are you? These 2 auras are extremely overbearing and powerful. Xiao sure will die." A crazed look flashed in Yunxiao's eyes as he snorted, "I'm only refining his body, not his soul." The stone beast was an extremely strange existence. Its body was made of stone, and it would not die as long as its heart of stone was not injured. As long as I fuse the purple and green chi into his body, even a 9th-tier profound armament would not be able to hurt him. In addition, his physical body can absorb the power of the earth and continuously recover. This is my ultimate trump card to suppress rain. His face was filled with ruthlessness. He formed a seal with both hands, and the purple and green chi rushed into the stone beast's body. As soon as they came into contact, the stone beast's yellow body began to collapse like a clay slab. It had no power to resist and turned into dust. A pained expression appeared on the stone beast's clumsy face, and it opened its mouth wide to wail. But, under Yunxiao's order, he did not dare to move. He just stood there dumbly, enduring the pain of his body collapsing. Soon, the red heart of stone was also revealed. It was beating like a heart, as if it was very afraid of the purple and green gas that was devouring his body. It shrank carefully. Meanwhile, the body of the heart of stone shattered into pieces, turning into powder under the purple and green gas. His body has completely collapsed, the demon dragon said in a deep voice. The difference in level is too great. There's no way to fuse it. His physical body had been nourished by the earth's growing soil and had a lot of room for improvement. If the fusion fails, he can only find another body, and his strength will be greatly reduced. Furthermore, the purple and green chi are 9th-grade items. If it's not controlled well, it's extremely likely to accidentally injure his heart, and that would be fatal. With a cruel look on his face, Yunxiao said, "If I can't merge it with my body, I won't be able to withstand a single blow from the rain. If you want to become my assistant and step into the peak of the martial Dao with me, this little bit of training is nothing." Which unparalleled expert didn't walk through life in this way? Evil dragon, when did you become so long-winded? If you continue to be so long-winded, I'll refine you too. The demon dragon was silent for a while. Yunxiao's words were very reasonable. If he could succeed, the benefits to the stone beast would be unparalleled. Besides, he also knew that all alchemists were lunatics. Although Yunxiao looked normal, when it came to alchemy, he was no different from those lunatics in the Sea of Soul formation. Yunxiao's body was shining with the light of the Great Expansion divine technique, which was as brilliant as the sun. One divine technique after another was sent into the stone beast's body, and soon, it collapsed to the point where only its heart was left. His movements slowed down, and his brows furrowed. Just as the demonic dragon had said, the stone beast's current state was unable to withstand the refinement of the purple and green chi. It could only be turned into ashes. After he pondered for a while, a ray of light slowly rose from his hand. A small purple cauldron slowly flew out. All kinds of strange patterns were engraved on it, ancient and profound. Under the pressure of the purple cauldron, the demonic dragon's pupils shrank and he held his breath. He felt a sense of oppression in his heart. Open. Yunxiao gave a loud cry and thrust his palm forward. A spirit light flashed in his hand, then turned into a rune and imprinted itself on the purple cauldron. The purple cauldron was pushed into the air by the power of the runes, but it was still dead. There was no weapon essence spreading out, and it was like a dead pig. No matter how much water was used to heat it, it was still a dead pig. Yunxiao cursed angrily, "Damn you. I don't believe I can't open you in my divine realm tablet." He pointed a finger, and the power of laws appeared in the world, pressing down on the purple cauldron. The space was compressed at this moment, and countless weights were condensed at that point. Boom, boom, boom. The purple cauldron finally let out a rumbling sound as it suffered a great impact. The huge belly of the cauldron rumbled as if it was resisting the infinite weight.